All right, Shalom. Before I get started, I want to give all glory and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to my apostles and elders of Great Millstone that are ruling well. Peace and safety to all the occupants out here preaching His word in truth and sincerity, all right? So I want to do a lesson, not necessarily breaking news or new news, nevertheless, because I believe today is the January the 26th, and this article was released on the 18th. All right, so as you can see on the screen, this is from businessinsider.com, which is a great website to definitely check up on. Business Insider, Insider Science, Insider Tech. I'm pretty much a fan of basically anything involving this website. But so I say all that to say this is not some conspiracy theory website. This is what people would consider a respectable, if that matters, website in the eyes of the people of the world, which that's BS. All right. But in this article, as you can see, it's entitled "Entire Aisles Are Empty. Whole Food Employees Reveal Why Stores Are Facing a Crisis of Food Shortages." Now, what's another word for food shortages? Famine. Matter of fact, let's look up the etymology of the actual word famine. All right, let's look up that word real quick. Famine. All right, famine, which is an old French famine, starvation, famine, hunger, starvation, famine. Okay, so that's what the word famine means: starvation, hunger, to be famished. Okay, to have without. All right, so this article is touching on the fact of the famine that's going to come and hit this place real hard very soon. See, what you people don't understand is that we're already in the midst of a famine. Okay, a famine just doesn't happen. It takes time. No different than when you read the account of Joseph when he was in Egypt. He had the dream. All right, he had the dream of the famine coming, but the famine didn't come until maybe a couple years later. All right, so famines, it's a process to a famine occurring. All right, reading on, it says a Whole Food store in Houston, Vanetta Elias Siegel. Whole Food employees say stores are suffering from food shortages because of a newly implemented inventory management system called Order to Shelf, or OTS. Now, what does that mean? Basically, these stores, everything is digital in these stores now. All right. People don't go into Walmart. There's not, like, for instance, you may work at, let me think of an example of a place. You may work at, let's just say, Chick-fil-A. All right. You may work at Chick-fil-A, and Chick-fil-A will have their manager or their assistant manager basically go out maybe once a week, and they'll go into the freezer or the shelf and see, okay, and I don't work there, but we're just going to use an example. Chick-fil-A sauce, right? They might very well say, oh, we're down to 100 Chick-fil-A sauces. We use roughly 50 of these every day. So our truck, it's Monday, our truck comes on Wednesday, we need to order another one. That's just giving that as an example of how inventories are taken. Now, in a store like Walmart, there's not a person going around doing inventory on how many bags of rice are on the shelf. When you take that bag of rice off the shelf and you go to the counter and you scan it, you're paying for it, but it's telling the system that basically order another bag of rice to replace this rice. All right. So that's why sometimes you'll go in the stores, you're like, how are they out of this? All right. Well, maybe they only keep 2 or 3 on the shelf because they feel like they only sell 2 or 3 in a week span. But in this week, some 2 to 3 already bought it before the next shipment comes in. All right. So, and another point too is we gotta include myself, but because sometimes you lose sight of this, is that grocery stores are not there to just feed you people, man. That's not why they're there. Their first goal is to not make sure that this family of 5 always has bread and milk and juice and water and chicken and shit. All right. They're a business in the business of making money. So they're not concerned with feeding you. They're concerned with fattening their pockets. All right, moving on in this article, it says Whole Foods says the system reduces unnecessary inventory, lower costs, and frees up employees to focus on customer service. Okay, skipping down, I'm gonna skip down. It says, last week we ran out of onions and potatoes twice, an employee of Brooklyn Whole Foods store said. Entire aisles are empty at times. It has for weeks had empty shelves, and I shop there twice a week, one customer told Business Insiders. The prepared food section is not refreshed and foods look stale. All right. So this article is basically giving you the look that these grocery stores don't have no food. We're already in a famine. Okay. We're already there. All right. On top of the very fact that they're closing down these stores, there's not as many stores around as there once were. You know, right here in Atlanta, where I live at, within the last year, I've seen 2 Krogers, which Kroger's is a grocery store that's very popular in the South. Like I said, I'm making this video from a person that lives in Atlanta, so I'm pretty sure if you live in the Midwest, you probably have Big Bears, you see, and so on and so forth. And wherever region you have, there's different grocery stores. But here, Kroger, that's just another brand of grocery store. So here, in the last year, 2 Krogers that I would shop at. All right, and what I mean by that is one was very close, like right around the corner from my house. Like one so close that if you rib or whatever, it's like, oh, we need more. I need more butter. You mind going to the store? Yeah, I'll be right back. You know, it wasn't a hassle. It's like, all right, boom, I make this right, straight shot. I ain't got to deal really no lights. Boom, you know. So I used to go there, but that one's closed down. Can't understand why it was always busy. But I understand why through the spirit, because this place is liquidating. All right. It's going out of business. They're creating it where at the end of the day, when this place shuts down and you people begin to do grocery runs, you run and you try to ransack your local grocery store, there's only the elite know that there's only going to be a few places for you to hit. Okay, these Walmarts and these grocery stores, these people that are in the know that own these corporations, they're not blind. They're not keeping these businesses open to make money. It's not about money anymore. All right, it's about transitioning into what they need. The Walton family. You don't think the Walton family are in tune with the Illuminati's plan? Walmarts are going to be the hubs for martial law. All right, so you think them shutting down stores is because they need the money, or keeping stores open because they need the money? They've made their money 10 times. All right, it's because those places hold their position the way they want. All right, matter of fact, I'm sitting in my living room and I'm imagining right around from my house. All right, there used to be a Walmart on one side of 78. They shut that one down to build it right on the other side of 78. But that's still a storage unit. Just because it's empty don't mean that it doesn't mean that they're not going to turn it into a martial law, a FEMA camp or a concentration camp. All right, they're shutting down Walmarts, grocery stores are shutting down. All right, this is what's happening. All right, we're living already in the midst of a famine. All right, bear with me 1 second. Bear with me 1 second. All right, so them shutting these stores down, it's simple, you know, supply and demand. Okay, when the supply is low. Matter of fact, when you read in history with what happened when the money collapsed over there in the Deutsche Mark, and what happened in Zimbabwe, I believe, when they had their money collapse over there in Germany, I believe. All right, there's famous pictures of basically people taking wheelbarrows of money. All right, wheelbarrows of money to buy a loaf of bread. All right, because of it's a term called hyperinflation. All right, or they would change the money on the menu. All right, it was people were putting the money on the wall as wallpaper. Okay, so the same thing is happening now. It's simple supply and demand. Supply and demand is the basics of everything in life. All right, when the supply is high and the demand is low, what happens to something? That's where you get sale racks in stores. They got a high supply of these type of t-shirts, but the demand is not there, so we can't sell them for $20. So let's meet the equilibrium point in between there where somebody may want this. The equilibrium point of sale may very well not be $20. It may be $12. Okay. So on the flip side, when the demand is high and the supply is low, that's where you have something that's rare. Like, let's just say a certain pair of sneakers, like those off-white Virgil those Jordans, or the Pestos or whatever, if you're in the sneakers. All right, the demand was high for those, but the supply was very low. So the shoe was selling. Some shoes were selling for $2,000 plus. Same thing is going to happen in your local grocery stores. When the supply is low and the demand for a bottle of water occurs, you will spend $100 for that bottle of water that you would have spent $1 for six days ago. All right. Same thing with the food. So this Esau is decreasing the very supply of what we call groceries. That's why there's not a lot of grocery stores. There's not a lot of places for you to get a good food, get a good meal from, and so on and so forth, because the supply is being cut, because he knows that the demand is going to come very soon. All right. Where you people to feed your children, you're going to spend $30 for a jug of milk. You're going to spend $40 for gasoline. What am I trying to say? The same concept, okay? So let's get some scriptures. Let's go to all right, so let's go to the book of Matthew 24 and all right, this is Matthew 24 and 3, and it says, "And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the signs of thy coming and of the end of the world? And Yahushua answered and said unto him, Take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am the anointed, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars." Are we not hearing of wars? Is it not seeming that there was a as they want to deem false alarms with from North Korea shooting nukes onto Japan or to Hawaii? All right, which most are saying was a drill, or I've heard accounts where basically those were bombs that were actually shot down. Okay, and rumors of war. All right, there's a war happening in the Middle East, and there's rumors of war. All right, war's going to come to America, whether it be civil wars, class wars, race wars, wars between the other nations, and so on and so forth. All right, seeing that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nations shall rise against nations, and kingdoms against kingdoms, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginnings of sorrows. You see? So famines, Yahushua was telling the disciples at the time, which later became apostles, that in the end there was going to be a famine. The end of the world being the end of this age, the end of Esau's ruling. There's going to be, these things are going to occur as a sign for us to know he's surely coming. All right. And a famine is a major part of it. All right. Famines are going to occur. Major famines that are going to, the scriptures tell you in Daniel, the 12th chapter, that this time is going to be as a time that has never been. All right. So if you thought that the great famine of China was bad, the famine that's going to come here is going to be even worse. All right. So let's go from there to, I want one more scripture dealing with this famine issue, and I'm gonna close up on this. Let's go to Jeremiah Jeremiah, I believe it's 42. Nope, Jeremiah 38. Let's go to Jeremiah 38 and 2. And it says, and thus saith the Lord, he that remaineth in this city shall die by the sword, and by the famine, and by the pestilence. But he that goeth forth to the Chaldeans shall live, for he shall have his life for a prayer and shall live. All right. And this is when Jeremiah was basically telling our people, we ain't got no way, we had to go into captivity. All right. There was no fighting it. All right. But nevertheless, this still applies to us today, that the Most High brought on them then, and he's going to bring it on our people again. Famine is going to come. We're actually already in the midst of a famine. All right. It's just going to break off where something's going to happen where there is not going to be any more food going to these stores. It's just going to be rationed out by the government. You're not going to, like when you watch the show Containment on Netflix, when they quarantined the city of Atlanta, people weren't going to the grocery store as if life was normal and buying up chicken and rice and making fried chicken and French fries and shit like that. No, the government, the police came in, they dropped off packages, and that was it. All right. So like I said, I want to close up here. Just wanted to touch on this subject matter of the famine and economics. So that's an economic thing. All right. Economics meaning housekeeping. And part of keeping your house is what? Having food in it. And when you don't got food in your house, you got a major problem. All right. So with that, I'm going to close up and say shalom.